As people burned inside the Fahmy al-Jargawi school, these men, desperate, tried to break in to help. At least 36 people died, many women and children, charred in fires that swept through classrooms turned living spaces, according to Gaza's Hamas-run civil defense. Israel said the school also housed a Hamas command and control center. One blaze silhouetted the image of this child limping past flames. Miraculously, she survived. 8-year-old Ward al-Sheikh Khalil. Her father clings to life, but her mother and 6 brothers and sisters burned to death. They are over there, she said, under the rubble. This weekend has been one of Gaza's bloodiest in recent weeks. On Friday, a Palestinian doctor lost 9 of her 10 children in an Israeli missile strike in Khan Yunis. Child after child pulled from their shattered home, the eldest 12, the youngest 7 months. Critically injured, her husband and 1 son. And while aid has started to trickle in after nearly 3 months of a total Israeli blockade, it is not enough, says the UN. Now, the head of the new private Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has resigned, saying it is clear that it is not possible to implement a plan to deliver aid while Israel continues its bombing and while Hamas still holds hostages.
Harrowing scenes.
This is not true. It's a lie. There is no genocide of white South Africans. And let me make this clear for the benefit of those of you who are not South Africans. I'm a white South African, but I'm not an Afrikaner. I'm not a Boer, as people say. But even the Afrikaner people, the vast majority of Afrikaners don't want to leave this country. All Afrikaners and white people have a very good life in South Africa. We are doing fine. Thank you very much. We do not need to leave, and we do not need refugee status from Trump. So, why has Trump decided to grant refugee status to a group of Afrikaners? Well, he likes keeping in the media, but I think that it really has more to do with his friend Elon Musk, who we remember is a former South African. He has not been granted a license to operate his Starlink internet here in South Africa. And he has probably done this whole thing to provoke the bear, to create some kind of acrimonious situation and force the South African government to pay more attention to him. But let me just reiterate this. The group of South Africans who claim to be refugees from a white genocide, it's quite frankly an embarrassment.
Is there a white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it, never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa are still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No. They have better schools, they have better education, private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
Has any land been expropriated in South Africa without compensation since the first all-race election in this country?
I'm not aware of anyone. Not a single farm that I'm aware of was expropriated without compensation since 1994.
So how do we interpret President Trump's executive order?
It is possible that South Africa has offended the United States with his policy on the Palestinians, and it could be that with his policy on Russia, the ambiguities of those policies and its relationship with the Chinese. It could be. I think that does play a role. But there was something very, very sensitive that was touched upon. And in South Africa, right-wing groups, so-called civil society groups, we know that they have access to the Trump administration because they claim that. And if you listen to what Trump has said, it corresponds exactly with the genocide narrative that they sell and that they market, and that whites are victims of the democratic system and the constitution of South African legislation. So there's an overlay, there's an immediate overlay, there's an unquestionable overlay between what Trump says and these right-wing groups have said. So I'm afraid I have to believe them when they say they have direct access to the Trump administration, and we see it in what Trump has been doing.
Watching videos of children and women suffering and in distress because of American bombs is, to say the least, heartbreaking to me. But it is what it is. When it comes to colonizers, they come to kill, steal, whether it's natural resources or human resources, and destroy. Destroy everything in their path. That's what they do. Colonizers come to kill, steal, and destroy. And as far as President Trump, the amount of BS he bloviates, constantly bloviating BS, lies, it's nauseating. There is a genocide happening in South Africa. What genocide? Where are the pictures? Like the pics that's coming out, the videos that's coming out of Gaza. Where are the evidence? Where's the evidence? You just can't keep lying. And the blood that's been spilled, the blood the colonizers spilled, Yahuwah, the God of the Israelites, is watching. He's patient. But the time is almost here. You know, I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to just read one verse today because, like I said, I'm always going to come from a biblical perspective. And this is what the verse is today. Okay. As you know, I'm always going to get the book out. Let's look at Second Esdras. I like Second Esdras, written by Ezra, the prophet. Let's look at Second Esdras 15, verse 22. Let's start at 21. Just as they have done to my elect unto this day, so will I do. And I will repay into their bosom. Thus said the Lord. My right hand will not spare the sinners, killers, those who steal, those who kill and destroy. And my sword will not cease from those who shed innocent blood on the earth. The blood that you insist on shedding, Yahuwah will repay. All praises to the Most High.